It was a night like any other, until a single traffic stop turned into an ambush. A young officer's life was stolen in seconds, and the killer believed he could walk away. But when justice caught up, the killer's reaction to a life sentence left the courtroom stunned. In this series, we'll uncover 3 chilling stories of cop killers in America, how the crimes unfolded, how investigators built their cases, and what happened when the verdict came down. Most shocking of all, how these killers reacted when they realized their freedom was gone forever. Our first story takes us to Harris County, Texas, a sprawling community outside Houston, known for its hard-working families, oil money, and one of the busiest sheriff departments in the country. It was late summer 2015, and Deputy Darren Goforth, a 47-year-old veteran officer, had just finished his shift. He was in uniform, gassing up his patrol car at a Chevron station off West Road. It should have been routine. But routine that night would turn deadly. Across town, Shannon Miles, a 30-year-old man with a violent history, seethed with anger at law enforcement. He had a record stretching back to his teenage years, including resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. And on August 28th, he carried out a crime that would shock the nation. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button now. Stay updated on shocking true crimes that rarely see the light of day. Stick with us till the end as we uncover another chilling mystery. The question wasn't just who would kill a deputy in cold blood, but why? What drives someone to execute an officer at random, someone they've never even met? And when the killer was caught, would justice bring any sense of closure to the families and the community left reeling? Surveillance footage would later reveal the haunting moments. Deputy Goforth, still in uniform, stood beside his cruiser, pumping gas. Out of nowhere, a man approached from behind, raised a .40 caliber handgun, and fired multiple shots at point-blank range. Goforth collapsed instantly, but the shooter wasn't finished. Standing over the fallen deputy, he continued firing until the magazine was empty. The killer fled, leaving behind a scene of chaos. Witnesses screamed, some ducking for cover, others calling 911. By the time EMS arrived, it was too late. Deputy Goforth was gone. Within hours, Harris County Sheriff Ron Hickman addressed the media. This is a cold-blooded execution of a police officer. The word sent shockwaves across Texas. Detectives combed the scene. The shooter had been caught on grainy surveillance video, a man in a white t-shirt and red shorts driving away in a dark pickup truck. Tips poured in. One stood out. A woman called police, saying her son, Shannon Miles, fit the description. Within 24 hours, deputies surrounded his home and took him into custody. Inside his garage, investigators found a murder weapon, a Smith & Wesson .40 caliber pistol. Ballistics matched it to the shell casings left at the gas station. The evidence was airtight, but the case wasn't over. The hardest part still lay ahead, the courtroom. As the trial began, the nation watched. Prosecutors sought life without parole. The defense argued Miles suffered from mental illness. But when the verdict came down, the real drama wasn't in the words guilty. It was in how Shannon Miles reacted to hearing he would spend the rest of his days behind bars. The evidence was clear. The murder weapon was found. Witnesses had come forward. But the real question remained. What would happen when Shannon Miles, the man who executed Deputy Darren Goforth, stood in front of a judge and jury? In this chapter, we'll uncover how prosecutors built their case, how defense attorneys tried to fight back, and what unfolded when the verdict was finally read. Then, we'll move into another shocking case, the killers of 2 New York City police officers, whose courtroom reactions left families stunned. The Harris County courtroom was packed. Uniformed deputies lined the benches, their badges wrapped in black mourning bands. Family members of Deputy Goforth sat silently, clutching photographs, their eyes fixed on the man who had taken so much from them. Across the room, Shannon Miles entered in a beige jail uniform. His expression was unreadable, half defiant, half detached. The defense admitted Miles pulled the trigger, but argued he suffered from severe mental illness, diagnosed with schizophrenia years earlier, in and out of psychiatric care. Their claim: he wasn't responsible for his actions. But prosecutors hammered back: mental illness doesn't explain execution. They laid out the timeline, the surveillance footage, the motor weapon, and Miles's clear intent to kill an officer that night. Over the course of weeks, testimony piled up. Crime scene analysts described the spent shell casings. Forensic experts matched bullets to the pistol found in Miles's garage. Witnesses recounted the horror of seeing an officer gunned down in public. One gas station clerk, visibly shaken, told the jury, "I thought I was going to die next." He looked like he wanted to kill everyone there. The courtroom atmosphere was tense. Every word felt like it carried the weight of justice not just for one man, but for law enforcement across the nation. When the jury returned, silence fell. The foreman spoke the word everyone had waited for: guilty. The judge turned to Shannon Miles. He would serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. No appeals to freedom. No chance at redemption, just decade behind bars until his death. The families exhaled, some sobbing softly, others staring straight ahead. But what grabbed headlines wasn't just a verdict, it was how Miles reacted. As the sentence was read, Miles leaned back in his chair. No tears, no apologies. Instead, he smirked, an eerie, defiant grin that spread across his face. Deputies stiffened. Family members gasped. The sheriff later told reporters, "His smile told us everything. No remorse, no regret, just pride in what he did." For the community, the reaction was as painful as the crime itself. Closure was there in law, but not in the human heart. But Texas wasn't the only place where officers were gunned down in cold blood. In New York City, winter 2014, 2 officers sat in a patrol car in Brooklyn, completely unaware that a man with a gun was about to change everything. December 20th, 2014. The city was already tense. Protests filling the streets after high-profile police shootings had sparked national debates. Officers Wenjian Liu and Rafael Ramos, partners with the NYPD, were assigned to a quiet corner in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Their shift was routine, watching over a neighborhood, visible in their marked squad car. But routine, once again, turned deadly. Stay tuned as we unravel this mystery, and click that subscribe button now, cause this true crime series will send chills down your spine. Ismail Brinsley, a 28-year-old man with a long criminal history, carried a .9mm pistol. He had posted chilling warnings online, claiming he would take the lives of police officers in retaliation for perceived injustices. Just before 3 p.m., he walked up to the passenger side of Liu and Ramos's patrol car, raised a gun, and opened fire. Both officers were killed instantly. The city froze in horror. It was an execution in broad daylight. Brinsley fled into the subway. NYPD swarmed the city, sirens wailing, helicopters buzzing overhead. Within hours, he turned the gun on himself, ending his life before he could be captured. This time, there would be no trial, no sentencing. But the outrage, the grief, and the cries for justice echoed across America. And while Brinsley's own life ended instantly, others who killed police would face the gavel, and their courtroom reactions would become just as infamous. From Houston to New York to the heartland of the Midwest, cases of cop killers reveal a chilling pattern. No matter the motive, when justice arrives, the killers cannot hide their true selves. Some break down, others lash out, and some smile in defiance. But in our next chapter, we'll head into a Midwestern courtroom, where another killer's reaction would leave families and the public speechless. In a small Midwestern town, an officer was gunned down during what should have been a routine patrol. But when the killer was finally sentenced to life in prison, his reaction inside the courtroom stunned not just the victim's family, but the entire country. In this final chapter, we'll uncover the story of Officer Jamie Buenting in Iowa, killed during a standoff, and how his killer reacted to a life sentence. We'll explore the pain of the families left behind, the unanswered questions that remain, and finally, what justice really looks like when those who kill cops are held accountable. September 2013. Rockwell City, a quiet rural community of just 2,000 residents in northwest Iowa. A place where everyone knew everyone. A place where crime was rare. But in the early hours of September 13th, officers gathered outside a small home to serve an arrest warrant. Their target, Jeremiah Mumford, a 32-year-old man with a long record of drug offenses, theft, and violent outbursts. Officer Jamie Buenting, a 37-year-old father of two and a respected member of the Rockwell City Police Department, was among them. He was the kind of officer who never turned away from duty. The warrant should have been simple, but instead, it turned deadly. When officers attempted to breach the home, Mumford opened fire. One bullet struck Officer Buenting. His fellow officers rushed him to a local hospital, but the wound was fatal. The small Iowa town was devastated. Vigils lit up the streets. Children carried posters reading, "Thank you, Officer Buenting." And all eyes turned to the man in custody, Jeremiah Mumford. Why would he pull the trigger? Was it desperation, hatred, or simply recklessness? Prosecutors painted a clear picture. Mumford knew the police were coming. He had time to prepare. When officers approached, he chose to fire rather than surrender. The defense tried a different angle, arguing the shooting wasn't premeditated, but the panic of a man with a troubled past. For the Buenting family, none of it mattered. Their husband, father, and son was gone forever. The trial stretched over weeks. Jurors heard testimony from officers who were there that night, describing the chaos and the sound of gunfire in the darkness. Crime scene experts showed the rifle recovered from the home matched to the bullet that killed Officer Buenting. The evidence was overwhelming, and soon the jury would deliver their decision. When the word guilty of first-degree murder rang out, the courtroom erupted in sobs. Officer Buenting's widow broke down in tears. Deputies embraced one another. Justice, at least in law, had been served. But all eyes were on Jeremiah Mumford. As a judge read the sentence, life in prison without parole, Mumford leaned forward, his jaw tight, eyes locked on the gallery. Then he did something that shook everyone. He laughed. A low, unsettling laugh that cut through the silence of the courtroom. Some family members cried out in disbelief. Others stayed in stunned silence. One deputy muttered under his breath, "He's proud of it." That laugh became the lasting memory of the trial. Not just a crime, but the defiance that followed. To this day, people still ask, why did Mumford react that way? Was it bravado, insanity, or just a way to mask fear? Some say he wanted to leave one last scar on the families he had already destroyed. Others believe it was a final act of a man who had nothing left to lose. And while the courtroom provided legal closure, emotional closure remained far out of reach. From Texas to New York to Iowa, the stories share one haunting truth. When officers are killed in the line of duty, communities shatter, and justice, even when delivered, can never bring back what was lost. But these courtroom reactions, the smirks, the stone faces, the tears, the outbursts, reveal something deeper. They show us who these killers really are when stripped of excuses and forced to face the rest of their lives behind bars. For the families, justice is not about revenge. It's about accountability. It's about knowing that the killers will never again walk free. And for the rest of us, these stories leave us with a question we can't ignore. Is life in prison enough for those who take the lives of police officers? Or should the punishment go further? What do you think? Do these sentences deliver true justice? Or is there more society should demand when it comes to protecting those who protect us? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story sent chills down your spine, don't walk away. Subscribe now and hit the bell. Join us as we uncover the hidden truth behind shocking crimes like this one, and see for yourself how appearances can be deadly deceiving. You won't want to miss what comes next.